What's good, everybody? Chris here again. Chris Goes Outdoors. Today in this video we're going to be taking a look at the Naturehike Cloud Up 2 freestanding tent. We got it right here, and this is kind of their upgraded version of their regular Cloud Up 2 model. The regular model is similar to kind of the Big Agnes Fly Creek UL2 in that it's a front entry semi freestanding tent, but you do need to stake it out at the foot end corners in order for the setup to be 100% proper and work well for you. The upgraded version that I'm holding right here is supposedly 100% freestanding, so no need to stake out the corners at all. The only things that you really need to stake out are the vestibule, if you want, the vestibule space, and the optional guy lines as well. The tent itself is in here, the rain fly, the netting, and I believe the stakes as well. So all come in a nice little stuff sack here, so you can compress that down pretty good. We also have right here the tent poles that also come in their own stuff sack, and something most tents don't come with. This one also comes with its own ground sheet too. Usually this is an additional piece you have to buy separately, but this one also comes with it right off the bat. All these pieces combined weigh in right around 4 pounds. So it's not the lightest of tents, but for general backpacking use, it's relatively light, especially compared to say a 6-pound, 8-pound car camping tent. You don't want to be lugging that thing around, and this certainly packs down much smaller than that as well. If I were to use this out in the field, I would not actually take the ground sheet with me at all. I don't understand the entire point of ground sheets in tents, and I've said this to many people many a times. If you're using a ground sheet for a tent, it just seems like you should probably buy a thicker bottom tent if you're very worried about poking a hole in it. I've never poked a hole in any of the bottoms of my tents that I've ever used, so take that as you will. One thing about having this ground sheet though is that you can set up the tent with just the ground sheet, the poles, and the rain fly, making what they kind of refer to as a fast fly setup. So I suppose we could take a look at that first. Before we do get into setting up the tent though, I would like to say that Naturehike did send me this tent free of charge. They shot me an email and said, hey, would you like to check out the tent? You can make a video about it, that would be great. I would like to say right here, right now, before we even get into it and setting it up, I'm not recommending this tent to anyone, and I'm not recommending the tent. Take a look, see how the setup goes, the type of features and stuff the tent offers, and make an informed decision the best you can. Check out other reviews, other videos and stuff, and see if it's the right tent for you. We're gonna do the fast fly setup, or at least attempt to. I've never even seen this actual tent taken out of here, so let's do it. So you can see here, this has the little webbing here with the built-in metal grommets and the plastic clips that should attach the rain fly to, and the loops right here for the stakes if you wanted to stake it out. The poles right here, they're relatively heavy. I'll put the weights up at some point in the video of everything. So we got the poles right here. They feel super sturdy. I mean, they're pretty heavy too, so we'll whip them all together. There's no color coding, kind of telling you where to put each end. So I assume it does look like it's just a rectangular footprint. So I'm just gonna go wing it. So there we have the ground sheet and pole setup. So we'll reach in here. Yep, so we got some stakes and some additional guy lines in here as well. And this is just a Velcro strap to kind of hold everything together. This is the netting for the tent. We'll set this off to the side. Let's pop it on. So we got the rain fly right here. So we're gonna take one of the stakes and then we'll stake this bad boy out. So there's 2 loops on each end of the vestibule, so you can stake out the vestibule. And you can also stake the sides, and I'll do that for the sake of the video, at least for this part right here. And they have the Line Lock 3 type of adapters on there. Just nice, really quick adjustments. We'll pop around, we'll take a look at the little fast fly setup here. Just a heads up, the stakes with this, not very good. I just bent one putting it into pretty soft ground. I'm in a old baseball field right now, so just blew up. My Neo Air X-Lite is the regular size. We're gonna throw that inside, give you a little look around. So you can see right here, you can see plenty of room inside. The ground sheet's nice and sizable, could easily fit 2 sleeping pads, no issues. And there's the side of the tent. It's the camera I'm recording on. And then back here, you should be able to see there is a little vent back there too. So it's a little Velcro thing. We'll give you a close up. Kind of see there. So it's some sort of, almost feels like styrofoam or thick plastic. It's working, but it looks like it can bend really, really easily. Like very, very easily. So I don't know longevity wise how long or how good that will be, but seems to be working quite all right now. Most of the other tents you see that type of thing on is made of metal, but then you can see right there on the other side. All right, so in the Fast Fly, I am off to the side right here, very, very close to the side. So with two people in here, it might be a little close. You can see my foot is brushing against the outer fly right there. So if you did have someone else in here using it in Fast Fly mode, might be a little tight, but not the end of the world. If you had a ton of condensation, like heavy, heavy rain, might get your bag a little wet if the condensation was coming through, or if, you know, stuff was splashing up. But if you shift the pad over, and I am now in the middle, you can see you got plenty of room. Not bad overall. Could you make it work for two in a Fast Fly situation in heavy rain in a pinch? Sure. Might not be the ideal option, but it could work. But if you're a single hiker, you know, out there by yourself, there should be more than enough room. So at 6 feet tall, you can see I'm right on the cusp of the end here. End of the mat anyway. The mat appears to be maybe 6'4", 6'3" in total. So, but if I had the vestibule door closed as well, you would have much more room that way. You'd probably also be keeping your pack either next to you or around you. So, give you an idea, that would be with the vestibule door closed, which again, not bad. For one person, more than enough. For two, it would be tight. All right, so we just took a look at the Fast Fly mode. We'll pop the actual fly off, we'll put the netting in, and we'll take a look with just the netting real quick. So these also have the little grommet right here that you can put the pole through. They also have the little snap buckles on there as well. You could also just use this and run a stake through it if you prefer. Again, I would not be using this ground sheet normally, but some people would. For the actual grommets and the pole, it goes through both the ground sheet and the bug netting, no problem. So we'll do the other four corners quick. So we got all the four corners out, and then the rest of it is pretty simple. So it just clips on with these clips directly to the pole. It's got that new tent smell. I don't know what it is. It's not bad. It's like whenever you walk into an REI and you open the door, it's that new tent smell. Anyways, so it's all set up with the actual fly itself. I'll give you another walk around so you can take a look. Initial impressions, the bug netting feels very heavy duty. It almost feels like it's double layered too. It's not. Just a thicker bug mesh on there. The actual nylon, I believe, from what I read according to their things, all of the nylon here is 20D nylon. The zippers are pretty thick and I can pull one-handed pretty easily, which is also a plus in my opinion. Let's tie the little door back and we'll give you a look around. All right, so there you can see the front of the tent. It's all opened up and pretty sizable room-wise. You can see too, the peak of the tent is pretty tall. It's definitely up there. So decent amount of mesh, you know, ventilate stuff out, but it also has that little bottom section, kind of keep things a little more private for you while you're laying down. And then back here, and again, this is one of the bigger differences of this tent, the newer version. You can see it's freestanding in the back. So before, the pole used to continue right down the middle to a spot here, and then you would have to stake out these two corners, and that is no longer the case. And in my opinion, even if it's a little heavier, is just a better design overall. So you can see on the inside right there, the actual sleeping pad, and then the bag in there is just filled with stuff I take when video editing. But yeah, nice little layout. So you can see here, if I were going 2 people in this tent at 6 feet tall, it would be a tight fit, to say the least. I am essentially where the other pad would have to be, assuming 2 people were in here, and my leg is on the wall here. I am hitting the back here pretty solid, and if we turn you around, my head is like right at the end here. So I am 6 feet tall, like dead on. Space is a little bit tight for 2 people. Again, it might be a little bit of a stretch, but if I'm right in the middle, however, room-wise, it seems much more appropriate. Supposedly, once you connect the fly though, there's a way to hook it onto the net, and then it pulls it out a little, so we'll try that out as well. But so if you're sleeping in the middle, you should be all right. I have not much space to the end, but as far as like hitting this goes, I'm pretty clear. But yeah, it's a tight fit for us 6-footers. All right, so for someone 6 feet like myself, with 2 people, you can make it work, but you're probably gonna be rubbing up against the sides. If that's not a big deal for you, it should work. If you do put your sleeping pad right in the middle, and again, I'm on an inflated pad, you should be all right at 6 feet tall. Anything more than that, even laying down in here, it's getting pretty close. So I was like end to end at 6 feet tall, but we'll pop the fly on real quick. It appears that there's some spots that you can kind of hook the rain fly to the actual netting on the inside, and that's supposed to kind of spread things out a little bit. So there is a clip on the inside of the rain fly right here that you can hook right here to the actual inner net. And this is supposed to net you, no pun intended, some extra room on the inside. So we'll hook that in, we'll stake it out, and we'll see if that's the case. Now we got everything tensioned up. This should be optimum space as far as setup goes. We'll hop back in again, see what we got, full setup. So before we jump in, I figure I'd just show you can see right there in the corner, it does pull out the sides a little bit and does give you a little bit more interior room. So that actual little pull out right there kind of makes a huge difference as far as somebody my height, especially if you were planning to be in here with 2 people. I'm assuming this is where the second person would sleep, but I mean, my feet are still hitting the little end there. Again, 6 foot tall, and I am peaking at both ends. You know, if it was myself sleeping singly, I would not worry at all because my feet are just barely touching the netting there, and I still got a little bit of space above my head. I would probably not consider this even an option if you are over maybe 6'1", 6'2". I mean, maybe you could sleep sideways, but yeah, it's 6 feet. It's even pushing it for me. You can see the mesh right there. You can see the little pole system there. Up on the top there, you could hook maybe a headlamp or something to at nighttime. Right there too, they got a little pocket. You can see the little pole set up there as well, but nice little pocket here. Yeah, I'd be maxing out right there, to say the least. If you're taller than 6 feet, I genuinely don't think this tent would work very well for you. All right, and that's gonna do it as far as the setup and initial impressions of the tent go. I don't love it and I don't hate it. I think for the budget conscious, I mean, this tent, it weighs in at around 4 pounds for everything. I would straight up ditch the ground sheet. I would not carry that around with me with this tent on any hike. It's just not worth it to me. So that ditch is 8 ounces right there. So for the freestanding poles, all of the stakes, the tent rainfly stuff sacks, you'd be looking at around 3.5 pounds. And you could cut that down even more by replacing the stakes with something like shepherd's hooks or something. So you could probably get it down to maybe 3 pounds, 3-ish ounces, somewhere around there. You can usually find these, the freestanding ones, on AliExpress or Amazon, around 120 bucks, maybe a little more, but maybe up to like 150, 160. For the price, I think this is it's a pretty great tent. With that said, I have not tested this out in the rain, and quite frankly, I don't even know if I will. I tried to bring it on some of my last White Mountains hikes. One, we didn't end up staying, and two, it never ended up raining there. Probably will try to use it at some point in the future on an overnight, hopefully if it's raining, and maybe I can do some sort of small follow-up to this. My biggest gripes with this tent would probably be, it is a little bit heavy. I personally don't mind spending the extra money for, you know, the lightest I can get, because that's how I like to hike. I think for the budget conscious, the weight is acceptable for sure, especially without the ground sheet. Cut down on the stakes a little, smaller stakes. Probably get it to like 3 pounds, 3 ounces. It's a pretty impressive weight for we'll average it, say $135 freestanding tent. At 6 feet tall, fitting 2 people in there, doable, but you're probably gonna be right up against the wall. The wall was rubbing my feet in there. I typically don't prefer front entry tents myself. I prefer a side entry, especially if you're with 2 people. It's just easier to get in and out without waking up your significant other or whoever you happen to be hiking with at the time, because usually the 2-person tents with the sides both have a door on each side. The stakes that come with this, I would definitely replace right off the bat. They're by far the weakest link. It's nice they include them, but I bent one, the third one I pushed in. But other than that, if you cut it down in weight, so 4 pounds in total, $135-ish, a freestanding tent that should, in theory, still be waterproof. Again, I have not tested it out in the rain. If you're under 6 feet tall and you plan on just using this by yourself, it's gonna be a tough one to beat, price-wise, size-wise, everything-wise. Again, not recommending the tent, not recommending it. Decently built product, it seems, just not really something that I would probably use myself. I have a friend who's getting into backpacking. I think it would be right up his alley. He's not looking for something super, you know, ultralight, super expensive. He wants something that'll work, that's lightweight enough that he can, you know, hike around or carry it in his car and pop up, you know, wherever he needs to. He doesn't do crazy trips or anything, so, you know, for an overnight, this thing is, it's possibly, you know, a no-brainer for someone that's just looking for something budget-friendly that's gonna work. Again, Naturehike did give me the tent for free, but I genuinely don't think that's affecting my my review of the product. It's got its good sides and its bad sides. It would be a tight fit for me to fit in here and to use it. It's a little heavier than I would like. The stakes bent really easy, but at the same time, freestanding ultralight tent that will probably cost you roughly around $130. I mean, I can't make the decision for you. You got to make that decision, but it's pretty cool. That's going to do it, everyone. If you liked the video, drop it a like. If you loved it, consider commenting and subscribing. Again, thank you to Naturehike for sending this out. I hope that you take this as constructive criticism, not just, you know, me trying to rant against a option that you're offering. I think this is a huge step in the budget direction for sure. So, and yeah, that's going to do it. Hope you enjoyed, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.